Good evening. Good evening. How are we all doing? Just waiting on my co-host Andy. He's running a little bit late, so I'm not expecting many guys on tonight. We had about 25 registered, I think, but looking at the beautiful weather outside and the fact it's just been Easter, so it's probably going to be a fairly quiet one. But that said, lots of people will watch this on demand. So I'm super excited to record this. Hopefully Andy will be here soon, but I'm going to just give him a minute or two. Can someone write in the comments that you can hear me okay? Normally I would have sound checked with Andy before, but he's not here. There should be somewhere around that you can press a comment and write a comment. I've written 2 in there at the moment, so you should be able to see that. If any of you guys that are on now yes, audio good. Thanks, Lawrence. How you doing, my man? Hope you're well. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to wait for an extra minute just to see if Andy comes. If not, I will get full on into the session and do the proper introduction. If anyone has got any questions or anything that comes to mind, please feel free to post it in the comments. I will, if Andy's not here, I'll make sure that I get to them at the end. If Andy's here, he might interject and answer the questions as they come up. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the comments should any come in. The purpose, do you know what? As a guest, Andy's come in as a guest. 1 second. I'm really sorry about this. We're normally nice and organized. Let me get that over to Andy quickly. There we go. Right, he should be with us any second. So I'm going to get started. They normally last about half an hour to an hour. And the main purpose of today, obviously, I've titled it "Close More Jobs and Boost Your Revenue with SalesLine." So it is obviously all going to be centric around SalesLine. So some of you watching this will know what SalesLine is. Some of you will have never heard of it. So before I start sharing my screen and starting to get into the nitty gritty, I'll just quickly explain. There isn't a one size fit solution for everybody. Okay. There's ServiceMate, Commusoft, Zero, QuickBooks, Quotient. There's hundreds of different softwares out there, but none of them do everything really, really well. And I come to the realization 8 years ago, something like that, that unless I was going to build something bespoke and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds, I'm never going to get something that's got everything that I want at the level that I want it. So I started to look at alternative systems. Okay. And then I started to understand that it doesn't need to all be in one place, but you want to get it to talk to each other as best as you can. And obviously over time, that's got a lot more easier. So then I started to look at, right, what is the best software for accounting? In my opinion, it was Zero. QuickBooks is just as good. I looked at job management systems. So what is the best solution for my business and for a lot of other trades businesses? And that was ServiceMate, but Commusoft and other alternatives are just as good. And then I realized I started to do something called PPC, which was pay-per-click advertising. And I realized how messy it was to try and run that through ServiceMate. So I started to look at sales and marketing systems, and like with any software, there is lots of alternatives out there. And there's lots that are designed for like your big, like high-end companies like, oh gosh, I can't think of them. Salesforce, for example, they're a huge company. They work with big companies. They do work with small companies, but it's more geared up for those big companies that can invest tens of thousands of pounds. Then I found this software, which is now called SalesLine. So just to give it a bit of context, SalesLine isn't a software that I've developed. Okay. If you think of it like most websites are built on WordPress, okay, but every website is different. SalesLine is that system built on something called Go High Level. Okay. Go High Level are a multinational worldwide company, which is why the software is so good. And is, in essence, I own a license to resell that product under my own banner. And within that, I can do a lot of customizations. I can change the feel of it. I can add things in. And more importantly, I can build the automations and the setup that is required to work in our industry. So before I go any further, I just need to make sure that I'm getting Andy in. Oh, he's saying he's not there. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not sure what's going on with Andy. Just let me have 1 minute, guys. Let me just quickly. Right. Hopefully he'll be here. So sorry about that. Andrew, he's commented. There you go. He's on his way. He's on his way. So yeah, back to what I was saying. So I just wanted to be clear with that. You can go today, you can go to Go High Level and you can set up an account. Problem with it is it's not geared up for the end user, okay? Which is why there's people like me that create our own ecosystem within that, and we can offer support. We obviously build out a lot of stuff that comes as standard within the software, which I'm going to obviously showcase today. So if you do decide to Go High Level directly, two things to note: that you have to do a hell of a lot of setup, and it will actually cost you more than doing it within Sales Lion. Okay, so either way, it's a fantastic software. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. Can you just all confirm that you can see my screen? Here he is. Here's the big dog. Finally to the party with no camera on.
Apologies.
How are you doing, Andy?
I'm good. Apologies, I'm late, everyone.
Working now. Bloody hell. We're talking about technology.
Oh, yeah.
Got to take the blame. I actually sent him the link that you guys registered on. So, yeah, my bad. So my apologies for that. You are on mute though, Andy. So please unmute yourself. I think you are anyway, unless my headphones aren't working. It's hard to know.
How's that?
Okay, can you talk, Andy?
I'm talking.
No, I'm not hearing him. Can you guys hear Andy? Can someone just write in the comments quickly? Okay, so it must be mine then. Aye.
How bizarre.
There you go. I've got you.
Excellent.
Right. So I've just given you an intro and we're starting and got anything
so I'm going to manage the chat,
started?
everyone. Yeah, I'm going to manage the chat. So we are using Sales Lion in our own business, so in my business. And it's now become essentially the base software of the whole business, really. So everything is ran through it. Wayne's going to go through some of its capabilities. The session won't be long enough to show everything, but it's going to go through some of its capabilities. But yeah, it's such an amazing piece of software. We've modified it and tweaked it and got it to the point where we're running basically the whole communication side of the business through it.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Okay. So as Andy said there just won't be enough time to go through everything. But if you are interested in learning more about it, I have recorded, I think there's like 8 training videos that are like an hour long each ones. Anyone that wants to have access to that can just reach out and I can give you access to the training videos if you want to get in. Anyone that is already on Sales Lion or decides to join Sales Lion, it is built in within. If you go down into the menu here and click on, where is it? The Vault here, that should then load up the page, which will have all of the onboarding videos from the basics up to sort of more advanced stuff where you start connecting it to alternative systems, etc. So in essence, all right, I'm going to just go through briefly the key features and then open up to some Q&A. So first of all, when you log in, you land on a dashboard. Obviously, the dashboard is only as good as the data that you put in, but you can now edit the dashboard and create new dashboards so you can actually get some really good insights into the business, where from conversion rates to how many leads you've got, how many you've lost, how many you've won. Then if you scroll down, you can see like lead sources and values, and you can also link up your Google Analytics to it, which is now loading, and it will show you the data, the same data that's in Google, but it just brings it all into one place so you can have a look and see. And then if you go up here, you can actually create different dashboards for different scenarios. So if you've got a salesperson, you might want to create a dashboard that only focuses on their sales. There's lots of different features within that. Then we have the conversation inbox here. So this is very, very important because this starts to become the hub of the business where all of the communications can go. As standard, you can text or email. There is an additional add-on that you can actually create a new WhatsApp, and you can WhatsApp through the system as well. So that's why you can see WhatsApp here. But if we use this job as an example, you can see, let's go back a few steps. So you can start to see all of the different levels of communication. So you can see that she called here, and then that was based on a boiler service. So it updated that. You can see some emails that have gone out, and other phone calls here that have been transferred onto us because we have it as a divert into the office. And then you can see here, this was a job we did today that sent out a confirmation to her about the costs involved, etc., etc. This is very, very handy if you're a one-man band or you've got staff, because if someone else was to reply, you'll be able to see who's replied and see what's been dealt with and what's not. So the conversation inbox is very, very handy because it just starts to bring everything into one place rather than not knowing if your office lady's got back to someone, or you can even do call records and set up fancy introductions and stuff, which we'll get onto further. There is a built-in schedule. Personally, I don't use it because we don't use it for managing our jobs day to day. Technically, you could. It's just not the best at it. It basically is just like Google Calendar. So I won't waste time going on into there. Then we have our contacts page. So this is just basically an old school list of all of your contacts and phone numbers and everything. So I have it. I have it because I route all my calls through here. These blank ones here, these are because the customer has called, but we haven't converted them ones into a job, for example. So there's no name to associate to it. Obviously, a lot of these are sales calls, you know, like that one. So every now and then we go through and we just have a little clean up and make sure that the database is as clean as possible. Now we get onto the fun bit. Okay, so the customer journeys. So this is where you start to sort of automate and manage the customer's journey through your business. So in this example here, we've got the new boiler pipeline. Okay, so let me just clear that filter. I must have been looking at something earlier. You can see, so this is all completely customizable. And when I go on to the next one, you'll see that it's similar, but everything's worded differently to suit. So in this example, this was built for the PPC campaign that I mentioned earlier. So we had it. So at the minute the customer filled out the form on the website, they landed in this new lead section, or if they just filled out a contact form on our website or whatever it was, they would come in here. That would then kick off a chain of events. So we had it so it would send them texts, WhatsApps, and emails. Basically, the idea of this was to get contact with that customer to provide them with the quote. When we would then book them in as a quote on our job management system, ServiceMate, it would automatically move them over to appointment booked. And then that would then kick off another set of automations, which we call the nurture stage. So between taking the phone call and booking the quote and getting to that quote, we don't want to go blank on them. So we built on this, which I'll show you the journeys in a little while. This is just the sort of visualization of it. So here we would send out things telling them about the business, telling them to check out the reviews of the company, etc., etc. Basically, just trying to build a little bit of trust and rapport. And this would work on autopilot, but in some businesses, they like to manually move it. So literally, all you would literally do is just move it over as and when you need to. I can't do it because these are live jobs. When we use Quotient to send our quotes, so when the quote would actually be issued through the software, it would then move them out of appointment booked to quote issued. And again, this would kickstart another set of automations that basically would probe them for a yes or no. The first one would go out an hour later and basically just ask, have you received the quote? Is there anything that's not clear? And then next day it would be like, do you have any questions? And then by day 4 or 5, it would be like, are you ready to make a decision? And then we even finished it up that 7 days later, if we hadn't had any communication, we would then give them an offer. So we gave them, we've run different ones, but some were an Amazon voucher, some were money off the job, some was like a free product. So like, if you accept in the next 7 days, we'll give you the filter for free, or whatever it might be. Basically a last ditched attempt to try and get that job from being just a quote into a job. At any point, if we were in communication with that customer, we would just move them over into, I can do that on this one because I spoke to them. And that would basically just stop any automations going out, so that we know that we're not bugging them with special offers or anything like that, because we're dealing with it sort of on a manual basis. When the quote would accept, they would automatically move here, or again, all of this doesn't have to be automated. It can be manual, so you can use it step by step and only put people in the column that you want it to. Once they've accepted the quote, nothing really would happen in our specific journey. They would stay there until the install was moved into install booked in, which would then start to mention our service plans and stuff like that. And then ultimately, when it would be completed, it would move over into the completed section, just to keep on top of the database, basically just to clean up the pipeline. And obviously, if they've declined or gone cold, so after, I think it was set after 30 days, if they were still just either in communication or quote issued, they would move into the lead graveyard. And then we had an out of area one, so we would manually move them into that if it wasn't an area that we covered. That would just send a quick text message just to explain, unfortunately, we've had your inquiry, but we can't help you because we don't serve that area. We just found with the PPC campaign specifically, it was very important to let them know, because we didn't want people to think that we weren't getting back to them. So rather than have to just like go blank and just leave them, we would just send them a quick text that just basically explained that we didn't cover their area. So that is a very quick example of one way to run a pipeline. So you can use it as your sales journey. You map it out exactly how you want it. I just want to show you another one, just to show you an alternative. So another one was in our industry that me and Andy are in. We're in the heating, plumbing and heating industry. So boiler servicing is a very important part of our business. So this you can replicate if anything is repeatable in your business. If you're a gardener and you regularly go back to people, or or if you're a mechanic or whatever it might be, think of it in that context. In this example, I am going to be talking about boiler services, but it could be, if you're an electrician, an EICR or a smoke alarm test, anything that is repeatable. Think of this next journey as that. So what we have here, this is really, there's no automations on the back end of this customer journey. This is really just for managing the data. Okay. So as a service is completed on our job management system, it will come in here. So these 4 here were ones that would have been done today. Okay. So obviously the month is April. So all we do is, normally the office lady would do this, but I'm going to do this as the example. We would just move that customer into April, move them over. So it's something that we keep on top of sort of every couple of days. We just make sure that it's tidy. And then what this means is that at any point of time, I can see what potential work I have for that month. So you can see here, May, we've got 26 opportunities that need boiler servicing. In June, we've got 23. Let's get to the more sexier months. Let's get them to load. And obviously I've set a value for our boiler service. So it's giving us figures of what potential work value there is. So obviously as we get into sort of October, November and December, you can see it's a lot heavier in September. And it lets you be able to pre-plan and target those customers to make sure that you get that repeat work. Like I said, this is a boiler service example, but it can be for anything that is repeatable. So please, if you're not a heating engineer, this can be, everything can be completely customized, labels changed, everything. From the heating perspective, we don't want to be doing all of our major servicing in these months here because we're busy with breakdowns. So over time, our task as a business is to try and encourage the September, October, November, and Decembers to come into summer, which isn't always possible. Do you know what customers are like? Some people just like to have their boiler serviced in winter because it feels a more natural time frame for it to be done. But from a business, it doesn't make business sense for me to tie up my engineers servicing when we could be doing breakdowns, which are more lucrative and lead to boiler exchanges and repeat work from follow-ups from, like, you go to a breakdown and it might need other parts, etc., etc. So every year during summer, we manually target the September, October, November, and Decembers to try and drag them into the months of sort of July and August with special offers, discounts, etc., to try and make sure that we're trying our best. Like, as you can see from the data doesn't lie. You can see summer is a lot quieter for our servicing. So yeah, it's just a good tool to manage what work to expect. And you can also quite easily see, well, do you know what, I can hire somebody, because if I can just win 50 to 60% of this work, you know, I'm covering their salaries, plus obviously new inquiries that might come in, and etc., as the business grows. So the next stage to that is like the reminder system. So again, completely customizable. So let me just get this loaded up. Seems to be, here we go. Okay, so in this example here, we have a 6-month check-in. So 6 months after that job is marked as complete on our job management system, they land in here and they just get a 6-month check-in email that basically encourages them to remember us, basically. So it's a bit of a sales email. It's titled something like, wow, can you believe it's been 6 months since we serviced the boiler? Did you know that we also do power flushing, radiators, boilers, blah, 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 whatever it might be. So it's just an added layer of marketing. Then when they land in servicing needs booking, that kicks off a automation that contacts them at 10 months after the service was done, 11 months after the service was done, 7 days before, and then when it's overdue. So some people will say, well, that's quite heavy. That's a lot of communication. Most people, I can, you know, count on one hand how many times people have complained about me reminding them, because we're not being pushy. We're just saying, just to let you know, Mrs. Smith, your boiler's due is service, or your boiler is overdue. We're not being really hard or pushy on them at all. We're just sort of subtly reminding them. I think in one of Andy's, it says something, just a gentle reminder that your boiler service is due in the next 6 weeks, or something along them lines. And then obviously, as it gets to the overdue stage, at the overdue, we are a little bit more aggressive in our terminology. In my example, we basically say, like, warning, you could be invalidating your guarantee, or whatever it says. I can't remember exactly, but you obviously every step of this is completely customizable, so you can work it and build it exactly how you want. We also run our care club through here, so service plans, so we keep on top of who's in what plan. And again, it's just a nice, easy way to see. So I can see my office lady hasn't been in here for a while and cleaned this up. So, because that's 21 there that need to be allocated into whichever plan that they've joined. Again, this doesn't, the only automation on the back end of this is a welcome email that they get just to say, thank you for joining the care plan. And then contact details, etc. But these journeys are completely customizable. I even had a callback list for the AI. So basically, if the customer, we had, again, part of the software, you can build a phone answering system that runs through AI, which is very, very powerful. And this is just a running list of people that need calling back, or haven't got back in touch for whatever reason. So you can use it as like a day-to-day sort of management tool, probably is the best way. Then we have our reviews and referrals. So when any job on the system is marked as complete, they go through a 30-day review and referral collection system. Basically, we contact them after a couple of days, and then 5 days, then 7 days, and then at the end, last part of the journey is to basically ask them and encourage them to refer us to friends. Again, this happens all on autopilot or can be manually implemented. Okay, so that is the customer journey section. I'm going to move on to so there is a payment. You can run payments through it. We don't use it for payments, so there's no examples in here, but you can create invoices through it. You can create contracts and get digital signatures. You can even manage subscriptions. You can create one-off payment links. And then obviously if there were transactions, you can look at the transactions, all links up to Stripe and Xero and everything. So it is a good tool if you're not able to do card payments at the minute. But personally, we do that through our service mate, so we don't technically need it. Then we get onto the AI agents. The AI agents, right? Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to have time to go through that all tonight because there's new stuff coming every day. There's so much to it. So we probably will do a webinar just on the power of the AI agents. But I do want to just showcase it a little bit because it is cool, it is fun, and it might encourage some of you to go, do you know what, this is the software for me. So let me get back to that. So in here, you can have voice AI, which is a phone system. So you've probably seen the likes of Jody and AI receptionist and stuff online. This is the software. If it's not built on this, it's built on very, very similar software. So you can... let me show you. I don't know if the sound will come through. What I'll do is, so I will show you. So this AI here, I named Samantha after my wife. And basically it was designed for out of hours calls. So at 5 o'clock, the phones would divert to this phone number and they would then get spoken to by the AI, and depending on the answers to the questions would depend on what response they got and where they got sent. And if they were a care plan member, it would actually divert directly through to me so that they could be dealt with. I'm going to try and do a web call. Andy, hopefully you can help me here. Hopefully you can tell me if you can hear it. So
hello, you've reached Warmer Home by WE Gas Limited. How can we help today?
Did you hear that, Andy?
Yep.
Yeah. Hiya. I've got a boiler problem and I need some help with it. Can you help me?
Got it. Our office team is unavailable right now. Are you a care plan member? If so, I can connect you to the office.
No.
If not, I can send you a booking link via text. No problem. I can send you a text with our booking link so you can schedule an appointment online. Or you can leave a message and I'll pass it to the office for a call back. Which would you prefer?
Can I leave a message, but can you send me the link as well, if that's okay?
Of course. Let's start with your message. What would you like me to pass on to the office?
That it's Mr. Smith and my boiler's broken. Can someone get in touch to book an appointment as soon as possible, please?
Got it, Mr. Smith. I'll pass along that your boiler is broken and you'd like someone to get in touch to book an appointment as soon as possible. Now, could you confirm your postcode and the best contact number for the office to reach you?
So the phone number is 07970 333 999.
Okay. Thank you for that. Just to confirm, your contact number is 07970 333 999, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Perfect. And could I have your postcode, please?
No, I don't want to share my postcode today.
No problem at all, Mr. Smith. I'll pass your message to the office right away. I'll also send you a text with the booking link so you can book online if needed. One moment.
So it won't send it because it was a test web call, but if that was a real life example, it would have sent me a text message with the online booking link for them to book online. So hopefully you all heard that. They are completely customizable. As with anything, you can change. I don't know if you picked up, it sounded like it was in an office. So that's like a setting that you can do. You can have different voices, different tones, different speed to response. And they're basically, again, I'm trying not to go too deep. So there's like a setting in here where you can basically set the goals of what you want the AI to achieve, when it's available and what actions to take. So there is so much. You can also load in knowledge base. So you can see here that you can create, I don't want to create a new one. Let's just go into this one. So this is where you can load in things like your website, add in frequently asked questions, add in any pricing structures that you've got, the links to your website. So you can see here, I don't know if it will show me what ones are in there. Yeah, it will. Let's have a look. So it basically scans these websites for the information, and then the AI then knows that information. So it's very, very easy to sort of get your company understanding into the system. And the frequently asked questions is just like question answer. So anything that comes up. Once you've created a knowledge base, you can use it for the voice AI, but you can also use it for the conversation AI. So let me just quickly, I'm going to just go on my website quickly, and I need to share the screen again, don't I? How can I get that? Let me see if I can just quickly do that. Oh, yeah. So stop sharing, share screen. Let's share. Where is it? Where's the my home website? Here. Okay. So in here, so this is my website. Basically, the AI here message chatbot comes up. So what should I ask? I have a boiler. Great. And then it's going to use its knowledge. I think it asks me for my name and address details, etc. I can't remember what the actual setting is. I built it ages ago. I'll just quickly show you a quick example. Yes, it's asking for my details. So let's just get that. How much is a service? It might get stuck on wanting my name and details, but let's just see. I'm just trying to speed through it. I'm conscious of the time. There we go. So obviously it knows that because of information I put in. Yeah, so basically it's conversation. That's classed as conversation AI, and then back into Sales Lion is back into the other section is the voice AI. So all very, very powerful stuff. Let me just get back sharing the right screen. Stop share. Share screen. Sales Lion. Share. So you should all see my screen now. Yeah. Lovely. Let's make that a little bit bigger. I didn't realize I was on that setting. Yeah, and there's so much more you can do with it. So there's actually an agent studio where you can actually get it to start doing tasks for you. So anyone that is heard of like Claude and things like that, I haven't really dived into this yet, but basically you can, within the system, you can get it to do so many different things. So you can get it to move things in the pipelines, you can get it to respond to customers. This side of it takes a bit more setup and a bit more effort to get working. But again, it just means that you don't need lots of alternative systems. You can do phone AI, conversation AI, like the equivalent of Claude AI, which is like basically where you just basically customize the hell out of it, and it can do day-to-day tasks like it's a person. Let me come back out of here. You can also use it like a chat GPT. You can create content via it. So you can just keep it all in-house. I'll see if I've got any examples in here. I'll see if this will load. Come on. This would have just been me testing it out. I'm not sure that's going to open a whole new page. Then you're not going to see it. But anyway, you can see that the power of the AI. Then we get onto the marketing suite. So in here, you can link up all your social medias, Google My Businesses and everything like that. So you can see here, I've got all my different ones connected, and you can use it as a calendar. So you can start to schedule out posts that go out onto individually platforms or to all of your platforms. And you can basically just sort of spend an hour and create a month's worth of posts to go out and schedule it all and just forget about it. So it's a very handy tool. There's also now we've got comments, so you can start to reply to comments and stuff as they come in. Social listening. I haven't heard of that. Okay, so just like research on what's popular, what to talk about. That's new. I didn't know about that. And then obviously a settings page just to start talking about linking everything up. And you can see here that my Instagrams are not connected at the minute, so I need to reconnect all of that. Then we have an email builder. So anyone that's used MailChimp or anything like that, basically it's that. So again, it's another software you don't need because it's all built in-house. You can create campaigns or you can create templates. So for example, let's just click on, let's just go, where's my service reminder? Let's go for a breakdown email. So when a breakdown gets booked in through the office or whether it's online, we get this email that goes out that basically just explains what to expect, basically. So there's never a, oh, the office didn't tell me it was that much, or I didn't know I'd have to pay. As you can see there, we're quite firm with what to expect. You know, like, please note these charges apply whether we're there for 5 minutes or an hour, blah, blah, blah. Again, all just elevates the business, makes you look more professional, and basically just safeguards you. You can obviously, you can see here we've got hundreds and different emails and templates, and we have a year campaign here where a message goes out every month, email goes out every month to the customer. Again, so it eliminates the need to do MailChimp or equivalent. Then you have snippets, which I don't know actually why it's called snippets. These are text messages. I don't know why they've classed them as snippets, but again, this is where you can build out some templates and deal with that. You can create countdown timers. So this is to use in conjunction with the website builder that the software has. As you can see, I haven't used it. You can also have something called trigger links. These are very powerful. So basically, you can set up, let me see if I can edit that. So this is our opt out. Okay. So if someone clicks this link here, it will opt them out because it's a trigger link. So the system knows that someone's clicked it and it opts them out. You can also see if someone clicked and like this one's to test our welcome video to see. So when they've watched that welcome video, it sends another video out after, because we know they've engaged with the first one. You can actually set up affiliate management through here. So if you want to give your customers a reason to recommend you, you can actually create affiliates and manage that through the system. Brand board. So this is where you can set your coloring and things like that in the system, and make sure that you're happy with the branding and color scheme of everything that's going out. Then we've got ad manager. So if you link your Google ads, you'll start to see some stuff here. And prospecting is where it basically just scrapes details off of the internet for local companies and things like that based on what you ask it. Then we have automation zones. I'm really reluctant to sort of not get through this. So sorry, guys, it might go over by a little bit. But in here, this is basically the brain behind everything. So let me show you a good example of so the reminder system is probably the best example. Okay. So in here, these are automations that happen based on an action. Okay. So let me zoom out. So this is quite a complex one. And there's lots of actions. So I'll try and zoom in for you so you can see. Okay. So if we move a customer into this month, so if you remember that dashboard that was the month by month, okay, obviously I've got all the months of the year running along here. What that then does is then that sets off a chain of events. Okay. So once we've moved it into whichever month it is relevant, it creates the opportunity in the reminder system. And then based on these conditions, it will do X, Y, and Z. So if we move it into January, it will then tag it as January. It will wait 6 months and then add it into that 6-month stage of the journey. And that is what this is all designed to do, to segment it so we can tag it and get them in that 6-month reminder, which then, so that follows on. You can build it all in one, but I like to build it in sections so that I can make sure it works. But so that's stage 1. And then stage 2 here is the next part. So basically the trigger is when they go into that 6-month stage, which has happened on autopilot. It then sets off this chain of events here where they get the email, etc. And then it moves them to the 10-month reminder and so on. So it obviously just bounces its way on autopilot along the journey. Another example, let me find another example for you. So let's go for the breakdown visit. Okay. So someone books in a breakdown on our job management system via Zapier. It fires them in here. So that's why there's no trigger here, because we didn't want any manual step. We wanted it the minute it's created on ServiceMate. We wanted it to fire it over here. So it waits 1 minute after it's received it. Then it sends them a text message, again outlining the fees. It sends them a WhatsApp and an email. So we're hitting them quite hard with this. And anyone that deals with breakdowns understands the importance of making sure that customer understands the costs involved in that first visit. Because how many times, come on guys, let's be honest, how many times do you go to a job, you're there 20 minutes, the customer goes, oh, the office, I didn't know it was going to cost me this much, or oh, you weren't here long enough, etc., etc. that's why we built the automation to sort of eliminate that. It basically gives them no get out because they've had multiple opportunities to back out of that appointment should they not want to continue. Okay, so there's loads more that this can do. Let me just quickly show you the AI workflow. So basically, when a call comes in on the AI, we pull it into the callback list because the AI was built for out of hours. So we wanted to have a call list back the next day to give people a call, sends in internal notifications to the team to let them know. And then it also sends an SMS to basically say, thanks for calling. Care out of hours support is only available for care plans. And we'll be in touch tomorrow, basically. It also sends that out in a WhatsApp. And then that's the end of that journey. But these are completely, again, customizable. So everything is so unique on it. There's now a section here where you can have an overview, which basically tells you how many people have gone through the system, at what stage, etc. So just interesting data. Campaigns and triggers, you won't see that on your account. These two basically were the original version of what is now workflow. So you used to have to create the trigger in one part of the system and then create what happens next in the other part. Then about 4 years ago, they merged it. But because I still have some old stuff built in here, none of it's active, I don't think. But I've just not got around to deleting it. But you guys won't see that because it's not available to new customers. Then we've got the website and funnels page. So this is anyone that's heard of like ClickFunnels or anything like that. Again, eliminating the need for another software. You can build out landing pages. You can build out full-fledged websites on this. Let's just try and bring up an example. See if this will work. Come on. Yeah, I'll just use this one as an example. So if I wanted to edit that, hopefully it will load in this page. Yep, so I don't need to share again. In essence, it's a landing page builder, all drag and drop, nice and simple. So you can create nice looking, quick, simple websites or landing pages. If you want to create like a summer special offer, you can do that. Let me just, so if I wanted to add in, let's just say I wanted to add in a button, I'll just drag that in, stick that over here. And then we've got the button and you click on the button and then you can determine what it's called. So like test run, you can see it's changing and then you just save it and then publish it. Obviously I'm not going to save it, but again it's just gives you the tools all in one place, so you don't have to fuck about, excuse my French, doing things on multiple different softwares, having hundreds of different subscriptions. You know, it's all in one place. Obviously you've got webs, so that was the funnel stage. Website stage, you can actually create stores as well, so a bit like e-commerce basically is what it is. I don't want to start the onboarding, so how do I stop that? Let's click the back button. Webinars, okay, I didn't know it did that. So that's what you're on now. So again, there's always stuff being added in here. You can start looking at analytics of the pages that you've got, etc. You can create blogs. You can actually link your WordPress directly to it. You can create a client portal so the client can have a login. You can create forms. So forms are obviously handy to collect information from customers, whether it be on your website or whether it be like a one-off form that you want. So I've got a few in here. So let's just click on one just to show you what that is. So again, anyone that's heard of Andy, what's that? Type form and stuff like that. You don't necessarily need that. You can build forms and everything in here now. But as you can see, this was got a video embedded. So this is explaining to the customer how to fill out the form and what we expect. So this one was designed for boilers, so they can upload their boiler position, the controls, etc., and submit it through. All completely drag and drop. So let's just say we wanted to add a button in again. Using button as an example, we can drop the button in and obviously then label that button and do what we want from it. So again, it's just eliminating the need for other software or to rely on your website developer or anything. You can create surveys, quizzes, and even a chat wizard. Okay, that's been replaced. That's the AI chat thing. That's just still here. And lastly, in this section, you can actually create customized QR codes. So if you want to put like a flyer out in the world, you can create a custom QR code in here where you can get lots of different settings. So you can obviously tell it what it wants to do. So this QR code was, if it's scanned, it would ring. I think we used that on our boiler servicing stickers, I believe. And then you can change the color, add the logo, etc., etc. If you did the client portal, you can have the membership section. There's a media storage. So if you want to store all your important documents and stuff, you can use the system to do that. The review collection system. So we don't actually use the native one. We build our own because we like it to be a bit more unique, but you can enable the AI to auto respond to Google reviews and stuff like that. And it also gives you a bit of a breakdown on the data here. So you can see 91% positive, 1% negative, 8% neutral. You can see how many you've responded to, if the AI was turned on, how many have been done by that. So again, just useful data. Then there's a whole data section, so where you can start running reports on the system. If you connected your Google and your Facebook and stuff, you start to see that. See reports on call reports and AI agents. And if you were booking appointments through it, you would see all the data in there. There are third-party apps that you can buy through the system. I don't use any personally because it's not the best part of the system, to be honest, so I'll move on. There's also a mobile app that you can download, and so you can do all your day-to-day management. So you can't build stuff on it, but you can manage it. You can see all your contacts. You can see who's replied, who's messaged in. You can move them from one stage to another, etc., etc. And you can basically download that for Apple or Google, and obviously then start using it day to day. You can also get onto the pricing calculator. So we did a webinar a few months ago now on the pricing calculator. So you can log into that and get access to that. You can also get onto the podcast. So any of you that don't know, me and Andy do a weekly podcast. So you can, again, all embedded in. You can contact me directly. It won't show you this because it opens up a new page, but basically it opens up WhatsApp for you. Then you've obviously got the vault that I touched on earlier, link to Quotient, but again, you won't be able to see that because it opens it in a separate page. And then any of you that are on the school app, you can click on that and get straight into your school app again there. Okay, right. Whew. Sorry, Andy. Are you still here?
Now it makes a change, me having a ability to rest my voice, or an opportunity to rest my voice.
Okay, lads. So that is a very quick overview. I'm going to hand the mic over to Andy to see if he's got any more input on that. And then we can see if there's any questions, or hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into what the software is, what it can do. I will caveat all of this with, you can do this all yourself. Yeah. Nothing stopping you signing up today and starting your journey with it. It takes time and effort. Okay, so brace yourself. It's not like done for you out of the box. So it does need tweaking. You need to set things up. You need to integrate it, etc., etc. Obviously, we can help you with that. But I don't want to give you any false illusion that it's sort of like you pay your 120 quid a month and it's ready to go, all singing, all dancing. There are either time or money involved in getting it set up. Okay, right. I'm going to quickly take a swig of drink and see if anyone's got any questions. I needed that drink. My throat's gone all hoarse there.
I think this is going to be one where there's going to be very specific questions people will probably reach out to us with. It's such a vast piece of software. It's a little bit like, if you compare it to, let's say, Quotient that we did on the last one. The one before the last one. That's a very specific piece of software with a sort of singular use to it.
Very set parameters, isn't there? This is like the Wild West. You can some of the lads literally that are on it literally only use it for the review collection automation, basically, just because that's all they wanted at the time. And then over time they add in bits and bobs and build a landing page or QR code, or decide to start using the AI in the system. Ultimately, right, my goal with Sales Lion was always anyone that pays for it. I wanted to get to the point in the first month or two where it becomes that the subscription fee is not even worth thinking about anymore. Yeah. So if we are doing like review collections and boiler service reminders as an example, literally pretty much instantaneously, it's worth the 120 quid because you're starting to get reviews drip in every week. You're getting repeat work every year because of the reminder system. Because once something becomes sort of like a no-brainer, people then embrace it more, you know. Whereas if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, that's a lot of money, blah blah blah, which it is, it's not the cheapest, but it can do so much for you and pay you back very, very quickly once even if you only used it from a basic scenario. Like, sorry to keep talking, but another example of that was I had a client reach out to me about 2 weeks ago. They were spending a lot of money, about 3 or 4 grand a month on checker trade. So what we do this with Andy, we do this with lots of our clients as well, but this one specifically, he was like, I'm not interested in all of the software, what it can do. All I want to do is maximize our reviews and maximize getting hold of that customer from checker trade. So we built it. So basically when a lead comes in on their checker trade, it automatically comes into Sales Lion. Sales Lion sets off a sequence of events over the next 2 days to basically get as much value out of that checker trade lead as possible. Ultimately, it's designed to get contact. Basically, we're just trying to make contact with that customer as fast and as friendly as we can, so that we have a chance to turn that lead into an actual paying job, which then justifies the costs that they're spending on generating that leads. So for that client, that is all he's interested in at the minute. But in 2 months, 3 months time, he might be like, oh, do you know what? Now we've seen the power of that. Let's do something like the review system, or let's do a new boiler journey pipeline, or whatever it might be. So all you need really to get started is one reason. So if it's just reviews, do it for the reviews, because Andy, how many reviews have you got in the last 2.5 years of being on Sales Lion?
It's actually less than that. It's about, since we really dialed in with Sales Lion, it's been just shy of 2 years. And we've had 1,000 reviews.
1,000 reviews for a company. Just for context, for those that don't know Andy, he only started the company 2.5 years ago. So there was no, or was it 3? It's 2.5-ish, in and around that.
Yeah.
So he had I think 24 existing clients when you first come to me, didn't you? That you had serviced the boilers the year before because you were doing emergency call out and stuff. So for someone like Andy that was basically starting from a cold start, to be able to gain 1,000 reviews in a 2-year period, in under a 2-year period, there's going to be lots of guys watching this hanging their heads in shame with 100, 150 reviews that have been in business 10 years. Reviews currently is the currency that a lot of websites demand. So if you're not maximizing that, that reason alone is worth the investment in joining Sales Lion. Then you go into everything else that I've just waffled on for nearly an hour about. It really is a no-brainer. The integration side of it, some systems aren't as friendly as integrating. So some softwares require manual steps at different stages. But again, they're like 2-second tasks to kick off a whole sequence of events. So it's not like labor intensive, but things like ServiceMate and that make it a lot smoother. So a lot of the actions that happen are based on day-to-day stuff that is happening in ServiceMate anyway. So like when you complete a job, you're going to complete that job, then it fires off and does XYZ. When you create a new job in a certain category, it fires off XYZ. So a lot of it can be automated, but there are certain situations that it just slows down the automation a little bit because it requires a little bit of a manual step at certain points. Yeah, sorry, I did say I'd stop talking, but I lied. As you can tell, I love it. I don't talk about stuff or promote stuff or anything that I don't actually use and don't actually love. Yeah, it is. It's the amount of, like, a lot of what you saw tonight, right, would have been built 5 years ago now. I think I've been doing this for 5 years for Sales Lion. I think maybe 4 or 5 years. So it's sort of like, yes, we've had to tweak bits here and there, but once it's set up, it does its job. It goes, it does it. We might have to change the odd wording to change the offer up a bit, or change the pricing when we put our prices up, because we all should be putting our fucking prices up every year. You know how much twice a year at the minute. maybe twice a week, by the way, what's going in and around. But anyway, let's not get into that. But my point there is that once you invest it, you've got to look at it as an investment. Yeah, that you put a little bit of money in now, and you get some things built, and you get it working, and that is just going to pay you back day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. And before you know it, you like Andy, myself, and 20 other lads that are on it full time, you know, it becomes a no-brainer. There's not a choice whether to use it anymore, because it's so integral and it's doing the things that need to be done in the business. There we go. I promise that's it now. That's it for me, unless someone's got any questions. We're light on numbers tonight, so I'm not expecting many questions. Hopefully, there is some there. How seamless is the integration with the other packages for someone like me with CommuSoft via Zapier? So, Lawrence, so it's all doable, right? Zapier is user friendly. Your specific scenario, you're on CommuSoft. Their open AI part is very limited. So no, I say very limited. No, sorry. It's limited on the fact that it doesn't go as unique as something like CommuSoft. But for example, I built the guy I built the checker trade one for, you know, the review collection, he's on CommuSoft. And when a job is marked as complete on CommuSoft, it goes into the review collection system. When a new job is created, it sends out a welcome email and text message to each customer, introducing the company, terms and conditions, all of that stuff. So yes, you might not be able to do some intricate stuff like this specific job type on the open side. Behind the scenes, CommuSoft do allow access to API. I'm in discussions with them guys at the moment to make sure that they let me have better access, which works through, not to get too technical, but there's something called webhooks, which basically fire off. So when something happens, it fires a load of data into another software. Then that software can then decipher that data and use it. Currently, ServiceMate is open and you can do webhooks and everything like that. Whereas CommuSoft, they don't just allow anybody. So, but I'm hoping that in the next week to a month that I'll have access to their webhook system, which then means we can be a little bit more like we are with ServiceMate and Quotient and things like that, have a bit more freedom. And then you obviously couple that up with the AI advances that are happening. You know, the world's our oyster. The next six months to 12 months, there's going to be so much change in AI as an industry from 2 points of view, right? Sorry to bore you all, but AI is very, 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 very expensive to run from an infrastructure point of view. Okay, so when America and England built waterworks and railways and roads, right, they bankrupt the country at the time. Okay, but they know that the road will last 50 years, the railway will last 50 years, or whatever. There's a very long time that they're going to get repayment back on that investment. AI service data centers, average life is 4 to 5 years. Okay, and it's costing billions to make these data centers handle the AI capabilities. And the problem is that day-to-day people aren't going to pay for it. People like us will pay 20, 100 quid, 50 quid, whatever, you know, for the access to this. But we represent less than 10% of the world, the country, like people. So I see AI slowing down a little bit, because currently what they're doing, these big data firms are borrowing money, building the data centers, and then selling the investments into pension pots and stuff. So anyone that's like investing in this stuff, they're investing in things that have a very short life cycle. And so I see AI going in a bit of a different direction. I don't think it's going to be as cheap and as widespread as we're currently experiencing. I think we're in the Wild West at the minute with regards to anyone's picking up the pickaxe and finding gold and making money out of it. I think that's going to change. But I'm also, I don't know where I was going with that. I have no idea why I shared that. It's just, I'm just cautious that the AI side of things I know a lot of people get super excited about AI and everything. I feel it's going to pivot a little bit and become a bit more specialist and less generalized as it currently is. But there was a point to the end of that, but I've waffled too much to actually remember.
The consensus with the AI stuff is that it's going to branch off and be, rather than the general AI that it is now, it's going to be offered in multiple blocks of specificness for specific industries to, like I say, because costing's a problem when it's trying to do it.
And the energy usage that it uses to facilitate that speed and compute power. But that said, they're probably going to launch a quantum computer that can handle it all probably in the next 10 years anyway. So I probably just wasted 5 minutes there trying to explain that it's going to change. Right. On that note, for anyone that's watching this on demand, please reach out. You know where to find us. Go on the Off the Tools website. Get in touch with me or Andy if you want to discuss this further. For anyone that's in the room, thank you very much for spending your Tuesday evening with myself and Andy. We really enjoyed doing so. We've done one a month so far this year. We haven't planned the next lot. I think AI agent and phone answering is probably a good topic. But if anyone else has got anything that they think, do you know what, I'd love to dive a little bit deeper in that. If it's within my skill set or Andy's skill set, I will try to facilitate it. I have a good network of people as well, so I'm more than happy to bring someone in to do this, as long as we've got interest. If people are interested in this and want to continue, I would love to get some ideas from the audience and find out what's going on. If you've enjoyed the sort of environment tonight, you come and join us in Alliance. We every Wednesday night and every Friday morning we do these live calls. They're not like a webinar on a Wednesday and a Friday. They're an open discussion, so everyone's on camera. We're just having a chat and a discussion about whatever might come up in them sessions. Please feel free to inquire about joining us. We're not going to tell you that we're not looking for new members. We're always looking for new members. Our community is 40 to 50 strong at the minute. Lads in the group, it's a thriving, fun, exciting community to be in. Most of the discussions are done on a WhatsApp group or the Wednesday and Friday sessions. You get to know some of the lads, you get to hear different perspective. We've got people in there. We've got a few businesses that are turning over a couple of million. We've got people that are just getting VAT registered, so it's a real mix and obviously everything in between that. So, even if you're just starting out, if you're just starting out and you're listening or watching this, oh my God, if I asked that question into the group, when would you have chose to join something like Off the Tools? Every single person would have said at the bloody beginning, because I would have saved a fortune on mistakes and stress and hassle of trying to do it on your own. We're so used to sort of shouldering all of that responsibility on our own. And yes, you can do it that way. You can grin and bear it. You can fucking keep throwing the sacks on the back and struggling, or you can start to have a few pals that you can rely on, a few other people that have been where you are that can say, hang about, mate, maybe try this or don't do that. When I tried this idea and it went Pete Tong or whatever, it really is a really welcoming, friendly environment. And we also do meetups as well, so it's not all just web-based. We've got a retreat. Anyone that's coming on the retreat, we'll see you all in 3 weeks, where we're doing a full day's mastermind session on strategy, time and money management. And then we're going to shock them into some ice baths and hiking through the woods and then maybe a few whiskeys in the evening around an open fire. So it's really all encompassing approach. You get a lot of online stuff naturally because we're all spread out over the whole of the UK, but we do make sure that we get together at regular intervals to make sure that we're actually sort of bonding and learning together, and yeah, it's a really great environment. So please make sure you come and consider joining us, because we're welcoming new members always. Right, any closing words, Andy?
No, yeah, any questions, obviously reach out to me and Wayne. You can find us on all the socials. Wayne's going to pop up our emails as he normally does.
I'm actually not today. All I've got is the website ready. But basically, it's Wayne at offthetools.co.uk
Contacts are on there.
Andy.
Anyway,
yeah. Or in Andy at offthetools.co.uk.
Reach out and keep an eye on the socials for the future ones. And again, any suggestions, like Wayne said, if you've got things you want us to do a webinar on, just reach out and drop one of us a message.
On that note, we'll love you and leave you, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good evening. God bless.